request Harvey Newton to give a brief introduction of Tusharji. Tusharji is online. Yeah. He is online. Yeah, he has seen the messages. Okay. Yeah, he has written okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I introduce to you Mr. Tushar Garg, a distinguished senior scientist at the National Innovation Foundation, India. Based in the city of Ahmedabad, Gujarat, Mr. Garg brings with him a wealth of experience, not only from his current role at the National Innovation Foundation, but also from his valuable tenure at the prestigious organizations such as Goldman Sachs. Mr. Garg embarked on his academic journey with a master in business administration in systems from the Symbiosis Center for Information Technology, Pune, completing his degree in 2007. This foundation has paved the way for his remarkable career, where he has developed a multifaceted skill set. His expertise spans across critical domains such as Islamic finance, international business law, competition law, and database administration, among others. These skills have not only contributed to his personal growth, but have also provided invaluable insights and advancements to the industry at large. As we look forward to his address, we are excited to learn from his extensive knowledge and experience. Mr. Garg's contributions are a testament to his dedication and passion for innovation and excellence in his field. Please join me in warmly welcoming Mr. Tushar Garg to our symposium today.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope I am audible. Yes, thank you so much for a generous introduction, and thanks a lot once again to a very patient audience and to the organizers for inviting me to be a part of this session. And so, what I will do is we'll share my screen, if you permit, have a small presentation to make, and what I will try to do is as a part of this talk, because I realize that already a lot of things which I intend to cover have been covered, so we'll try to restrict myself to some things new and unique, which I believe wouldn't be repetition of what have been already covered. So I'll just share my screen. One moment. I'm sorry, there is some difficulty in sharing. Allow me a moment.
Sir, please try to share the total screen so you can.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. Already announced. Sir, yes. You can you can send a mail to me, sir.
Yes, I'm just sending the presentation because there is some difficulty. So I'll just share the. So I'm just sending the presentation to Rajni.
Tusharji, I have sent you a link, an email on WhatsApp. You can share it to this email.
Okay, I'm just sending to that one.
Connected
Give
to
me
the,
a moment.
yeah, that's
Sure.
connected to the system. We have logged in from that email.
Okay. No problem. Within a moment, I'm sending that. So I've just sent it to the same ID that you have shared with me. In the meantime, what I'll do is I'll just begin my session so that the audience do not feel impatient. As a part of this session, where we are focusing about multitude of things about science, technology, and innovations in India, and also because this session is particularly devoted to innovation outside formal institution and grassroots innovation. So grassroots innovation is becoming not only important in India, but also abroad. One of the key reasons for that is in recent years, there is a strong focus on three dimensions. One is ESG, environment, social, and governance. So these are three important priorities for rest of the world. And because there is a huge focus on on environmental aspects, focusing on technologies and processes which do not harm environment, focusing on those technologies and processes which are very much focused on uh, the social dimensions of the world, because all these things eventually lead to sustainability. And that is where uh, grassroots innovation become very important, because they are actually aligned to all the three: environment, social, and governance aspects. So, as the previous speakers have touched upon, how NIF has played a role, how their respective organizations have played a role in enforcing all these. I think you'll have to, uh, yeah. Now I can see. So I'll come to the slides now, because now you can see them on your screen. So today is a very important day for grassroots innovation and NIF, because 25 years ago, it was on this day, 27th February 1999, that in the Union Budget speech of Government of India, the announcement related to NIF was made. So you can see on your screen, I have highlighted, I propose a national foundation for helping innovators all over the country. So this day marks 25th year when this announcement was made. Of course, NIF was established in the year 2000, but the announcement came uh, a year before. And this was precisely an excerpt from that. So I thought this is something which should be exciting, because through this program, we are celebrating grassroots innovation. And what better day to celebrate it when the union budget itself has made this landmark announcement. You can move to the next slide, please. I think you'll have to download this presentation, because otherwise certain slides will not come properly. Yeah. I just given the access, so you should be able to. Also, since we are by the time the slides are downloading, I also want to mention that there are 50 more countries in the world, more than 50 rather, where an organization like NIF exists. So there was a paper by a couple of scientists by an organization called ITIF based in US, which mentioned that, and the title of the paper was The World of NIFs, the World of National Innovation Foundations. And altogether, there were 50 plus countries where an organization like NIF exists. But what differentiates the NIF in India from the NIF in other countries was the fact that in all those countries, NIF was focused on innovations in general. That means it was not giving any special emphasis to grassroots innovation. But in case of India, there was a paramount focus on grassroots innovation. And that is something which differentiates India's NIF from other countries. So when you talk about overall innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem in India, the differentiator that NIF brings is inclusivity, because there are several other integral elements of the ecosystem. Ecosystem consists of ministries, it consists of organizations like NIF, it consists of innovators, it consists of private sector. But one differentiation that NIF brings, which nobody else would bring to the same extent, is inclusivity. And that is what is aligned with the mission and vision of the NIF as well. Next slide, please. And to bring all these inclusive dimensions, there are three areas of focus: grassroots innovation, that is innovations by people who do not have a formal education background; outstanding traditional knowledge, which is rooted in deepest pockets of the country, primarily the rural areas, and that needs to be scientifically validated and integrated to the mainstream; and student innovations. So broadly, these three dimensions are the pillars or the audience of NIF. Next slide, please. Over these last 20 plus years, there have been several achievements related to NIF. Apart from mainstreaming the grassroots innovation, because when NIF was incorporated in the year 2000, probably the term innovation itself was new at that moment. The term innovator was not very widely known. Grassroots innovation was even less known that time. But what important role that NIF has played is to make such terms very much acceptable in the country, and not just acceptable, but also identifying people who have not been recognized uh, until then. So one differentiation about the recognition from NIF and recognition from elsewhere is, most of the times the recognition from NIF happens to be the very first recognition that somebody gets in the life. And that is what the challenging part is, because once there is a recognition, it is not so difficult to get replicas of those recognition. But to get first recognition is something which involves a lot of risk, a much higher level of due diligence. And that is where NIF have been very successful in achieving that. And you see, there are a lot of technologies which have been value added. Close to 600 have been patented, close to 1400 have been applied for patent. That way, overall, the numbers, the metrics which you see on your screen will convey a very inclusive picture, that if India has X number of patents, 600, minimum 600 of them are actually originating from the grassroots of the country, which is something which is very encouraging. And also, it's an important story that differentiates India from rest of the world. The other countries may have a bigger innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem than India, but when it comes to an inclusive innovation ecosystem, India's innovation ecosystem will certainly score higher than them. Next slide, please. Recent programs. So next slide, please. So one of the recent activities that NIF was engaged in was the India International Science Festival, which had of course, all the things which were there until previous 8 editions. But one differentiating element this year was strengthening of the international dimension of the program. And there were close to 35 participants from 21 countries. And there were new partners that NIF identified from the science festival this year, and you see their names. So there are altogether 10 countries and 11 partners, 2 partners from Kenya. That's why you see 10 in the blocks. And overall, the objective is that the important work that India is doing, that NIF is doing, needs to also go to other parts of the world, so that whatever we are doing good, they also know, and they can start getting inspired from it and do it in their country. At the same time, we can also know what is something that we have not done yet and probably learn from their experiences and start doing here. Next slide, please. Other international activity which we conducted last year was ASEAN India Grassroots Innovation Forum, the fourth edition of it in Malaysia. And the objective of this program is to strengthen India's science, technology, and innovation-based relationship with other countries of the world in the ASEAN region. And because India follows a policy of neighborhood first, look east, act east, so it is in alignment with the diplomatic relations that India want to maintain with other countries, and the friendly relations, of course. And science plays a very important element. Within science, social innovations play a very important element. And to strengthen such elements was the objective of this program. And this year also, like previous years, Indian innovators have participated in full strength and also has won prizes there. And the objective is not just to have a prize being won, but the larger objective is that we should know in India what are the technologies in this part of the world, and can we have some of those technologies to solve some problems in India, and vice versa. Next slide, please. Coming to the national activities, this is one activity which all of you are very familiar with, and perhaps the previous speakers also spoke about the Festival of Innovation and Entrepreneurship and the 11th National Grassroots Innovation Forum, Grassroots Innovation and Outstanding Traditional Knowledge Award, at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. And Honorable President of India inaugurated the festival, also conferred the awards. There was the 7th edition of Innovation Scholar in Residence program, and then the roundtables, and the summary of those roundtables were given to the President of India. So overall, it was a complete package of platform where innovators can exhibit their innovations, they can get recognized for their innovations. At the same time, the president can also know about what the various thought leaders think about innovation, grassroots innovation in particular. Next slide, please. With respect to student innovation, this is the main program that NIF and Department of Science and Technology together implements, which is called Inspire Awards Manav. This is a unique program in the world because it's the largest program in the world for student innovations. So the number of participants are about 1 million who participate through their school, but the actual number is much more, because 1 million is the number that students get shortlisted by the school, but the actual proportion is much more. It's like if there are 500 students in a school, the school will submit 5 by shortlisting. But the fact that 500 had participated, and when you add up 6.5 lakh schools in India, the number is more than 1 million. And then from that funnel, we do district level exhibition, state level exhibition, national level exhibition, and then eventually the top 60 get awarded every year. Next slide, please. Next, please. So we are going to talk about some of the core strengths, and this is something which I saw previous speakers, respected Brigadier Ganeshanji has already covered. But these are some of the examples where the grassroots innovators have risen to the needs of the hour, innovated technologies that didn't exist, or if they existed, they were not accessible. But by virtue of their efforts, the societal changes were realized. And eventually, the government have also conferred the 4th highest civilian awards to many of the grassroots innovators across the country. Next slide, please. This is another area where NIF plays a very important role, value addition through various means. And this is the value addition, for example, getting grassroots innovation standards. And this is one area where I feel an institution like NIF is very important, because for a grassroots innovator, it is difficult to achieve for many reasons. The innovator may not be aware about something called standard. It wouldn't know about the bodies which enforce them, also for them to negotiate, prepare proposals, and get these things done. maybe easier said than done. But for an institution which is dedicated to service of grassroots innovation, these are the technical contributions where the body can actually figure out what standards are needed and then find out which is the correct body, like DIS in this case, for enforcing those standards, so that the difference between mainstream innovations and grassroots innovation, as far as exposure value is concerned, is as minimal as possible. In other words, whatever support system mainstream innovations have, more or less the same support system the grassroots innovations should have. And BIS standards for Mythical is one such example where NI was able to achieve it. And I'm sure a lot of other innovators and innovations will benefit from such exercises, because then this is just a beginning, a successful pilot, and then more can be replicated. Next slide, please. Also, it's very important to have an industry dimension in mind, the partnership with the industry. That's why, and I've constantly focused on building industry partnership, whether it is transfer of technologies to agriculture, uh, uh, top organizations like John Deere, or for orthopedic products, Visco, which has accepted the license of a technology called adjustable walker that was based on the idea of a school student, and then partnership with Amazon in recent times, and also innovators from India, from supported by NIF, adjudicated as Startup of the Year in the Amazon Sambhav Entrepreneurship Challenge, which is a good achievement in the sense that the participants were not just grassroots innovators, the participants were from every field. So for a grassroots innovator to compete in a very neutral environment and still be adjudicated Startup of the Year speaks volumes about the merit of the innovation. Because if it's an exclusive environment, one may say that the winner is amongst the social innovators, but that was not the case here. The winner was amongst all the innovators, social innovators, and also the other commercial innovations which were focused on AI, machine learning, and close to 2,000 such participants were there. Next slide, please. And I've also worked on mass impact technology, waste to wealth, for example, wherein the legacy technologies like cow dung pot making machine have been now rethought, reimagined, so as to come up with more products, and idols being one of them, which are considered of immense religious value in India. And for that reason, and I've took upon this initiative of translating waste into wealth, and it generates a lot of employment. Next slide, please. So these are some of the transformation case studies. We can move to the next slide. In the interest of time, we'll want to skip this. This also you can skip. Next one also, please. So these three were transformation case studies as to when NI have received the innovation, how did they look like, and when it actually went to the market, what was the actual product looking like. So there is a huge technical upgradation that has happened, and that's where the value proposition that NI brings to each of these innovations. So what you see on your screen now is the outstanding traditional knowledge. It's related to treatment of cataract, wherein by virtue of the plant-based herbs and the resultant products, there was a formulation that was scouted by NIF, and then validated with the help of technical institutions, and eventually the technology was transferred to Dabur, and probably next few years we might see this technology in market. So this gives us a confidence that the traditional knowledge rooted in rural areas of the country, deepest pockets of the country, have a merit. What we need to do is to step out and evaluate that merit, evaluate that traditional knowledge, and not ignore that knowledge, because that may have a potential to change the way things would happen. Who knows, after this eye drop increase in the market, there would not be any need for, or maybe the need for surgeries would be far more lesser than what they are today. Next slide, please. This is dissemination, which is an important activity of NIF through social commercial channels. So we work with a lot of correctional homes in India. Next slide, please. Dissemination of agriculture plant varieties. Plant varieties, another important dimension that NIF touches upon. And you see conventionally it was thought that apple can grow only in Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, and Arunachal Pradesh, but that's not the case anymore. It is now growing in all parts of the country, and the map that you see on your screen now bears testament to this fact. Next slide, please. Again, with respect to outstanding traditional knowledge, there are a lot of medicinal value that plant herbs have, and the veterinary product that you see on your screen, Mastirac and Wormimet. So these are examples of how the outstanding traditional knowledge rooted in villages of India have been scientifically validated, and now the result is the final product, which can compete with any other product in the market. Next slide, please. And Prime Minister of India has been very much taking the lead in terms of disseminating the information related to grassroots innovations, so that more grassroots innovators get motivated to come forward and be innovative and solve the problems at hand. Next slide, please. Yeah, and it was in continuation. So the Prime Minister always encourages, and through NIF programs, we have been fortunate to have him. Next slide, please. A large database of innovations is there, which is in public domain, www.innovation.nif.org. So my suggestion would be that after this session, you should visit this portal, and there are about 1.39 lakh innovations already there in the public domain. And ultimately, this should be your repository for reference for any kind of social innovations that you're looking at. Next slide, please. And today, advanced economies like US and more other countries in Europe are also looking at the example of NIF, how the community knowledge can be harnessed to the full potential and deployed for development of their own country. Next slide, please. And finally, I'm just concluding with a thought from the former Director General of WIPO, who said India is a leader in frugal and demand-driven innovations. So India is a tech leader. That is something which is very widely accepted these days. But a more important dimension in that is the grassroots innovation of India are playing an important role in that tech leadership. And that's what makes India's innovation ecosystem far more inclusive than rest of the world. With this, I conclude my presentation. Happy to take any questions. Yeah, anybody have any questions? I'll be happy to take, or you can take a note of my mobile number and email ID. And this is my WhatsApp number as well. So please feel free to even connect with me anytime, if not now, but later also, you are more than welcome to be in touch.
Thank you, Tushar ji. Thank you for sharing your valuable insights with us. If